Hello everyone. Thanks to everyone for watching this video. My name is Qidang. I'm an amateur musician. Today's video is titled Chord Progressions, and it is going to provide you the understanding of scale-based chords, fitting chords to a melody, and a melody to a chord progression. I am going to give you an overview of what I'm covering today's video. First at all, it is an introduction of chords, and then focus on the chord progression before wrapping up with conclusions. More often than not, music is more than a single melodic line. Music is a package of tones, rhymes, and the underlying harmonic structure. The harmonic structure of a piece of music is defined by a series of chords. A chord is a group of notes played simultaneously, rather than sequentially like a melody. The relationships between the notes, the intervals within the chord, define the type of chord. The placement of the chord within the underlying key or scale defines the role of the chord. What is the chord? A chord is a combination of three or more notes played together. Basic chords consist of just three notes, arranged in thirds, called a triad. The most common triads are constructed from notes plucked from the underlying scale, each note two steps above the previous note. Chords can also include more than three notes. When you get above the basic triad, the other notes you add to a chord are called extensions. We have 7th chord, 9th chord, 11th chord, and 13th chord. Individual chords alone are interesting, but they become really useful when you string them together to form a succession of chords, what we call a chord progression. These chord progressions provide a harmonic underpinning of a song, flattening out the melody and propelling the music forward. Of course, to create a chord progression that sounds natural, you can't just string a bunch of chords together willy-nilly. Certain chords naturally lead to other chords. Certain chords perform distinct functions within a song. You have to use your chords properly and arrange them in the right order to create a piece of music that sounds both natural and logical, like this. If we add subdominant chords, you can feel the music sounds more interesting. Now we can move to chord progressions. If we list the scales of C major, then each note is made into a triad, and you will get these 7 chords. These chords can naturally occur in C major without adding key signatures. What we are going to discuss today is what role these 7 chords play in C major. Initially, we can listen to a piece of Little Star. The first and last chord of this piece are C major. We call the first chord as the tonic chord. This chord has a feeling of at the beginning or at the end, or a sense of stability. We can say the tonic chord as home. If we use this chord in this tune, then it will be boring. Therefore, in order to avoid this situation, we need an unstable chord to contrast with the tonic chord. This chord is the 5th of this list. We call the dominant chord. The feeling of the dominant chord is the opposite of the tonic chord. It is neither the beginning nor the end, so it is an unstable feeling. We can call it as outside. We now play from the C to the G, and back from the G. We are starting from home. Now we go home from the outside. This will feel like at the end. If there are only 2 chords, it will still be boring when we just listen to the 2 chords for a long time. So we need to have an additional chord at the position of the 4th chord, which is the F chord in C major. This chord has a feeling of intermediation. It likes to take a step from the tonic chord. Then we can use it to connect the dominant chord. We can call it as bridge. Home, outside, and bridge are the most basic chords. G7 is also a dominant chord. Let's listen to a chord progression of C, F, G7, C. We can start from home, walk on a bridge, go outside, and go home. Currently, we have another 4 chords, and they have not been defined. What are the functions of the remaining 4 chords? In fact, instead of giving each chord a function, it is better to classify all chords into the 3 functions that we described. When we write chord progressions, it becomes very simple. So we just need to classify the remaining 4 chords. Which one likes home? Which one likes outside? Which one likes bridge? Now we can see the 7th chord, the B minor triad chord. It sounds like outside. Next is the 5th chord, D minor chord. It sounds like bridge. D minor has bridge function, so we fill it in the list of bridge candidates. Now we have 2 chords for bridge and outside, so the route from home to home becomes 4 possibilities. The 4 routes have different feelings. Next is the 3rd and 6th chord. These 2 chords don't sound like home, like friend's home or hotel, and it doesn't like long-term residence. So, we fill A minor and E minor in the first grid of this table, and in the rightmost grid. When A minor and E minor are used as extensions of home, they can also be connected to each other. For example, we can connect C to E minor to A minor. The 2 bridges can also be connected to each other, so we then fill in F to D minor or D minor to F. Now we look at this table. There are 5 possibilities for home, 4 for bridge, 2 for outside, and 3 for going home. So the number of route possibility from home to home is 5 times 4 times 2 times 3, a total of 120. We can choose any one of these 120 routes to sound very smooth harmony. Let's try one of them. For example, we can connect C to E minor, to A minor, to F, D minor, G7, and C, like this. Listen again. We now start from home, then to our friend's house, and then to the hotel to have a break. Then we feel uncomfortable outside and want to go home. Finally, we go home. These are all chord functions that we described. From conclusions, what we learned. A chord consists of 3 or more notes played simultaneously with each note typically a third above the previous note. Every note of the scale has an associated chord. Chord progressions naturally lead back to the tonic, chord of the underlying scale. Okay, thanks to everyone for watching my video today, and I do hope you found the video informative and that you learned some things from it. If you do have any questions, then you can write comments and messages. I am happy to answer any questions. Thanks for your watching.